Hello friends, we are into experiment number 3, RC phase shift oscillator. You can download the write-up for this experiment from this link provided. This is the disclaimer. Here is the outline of our presentation. Now here you see the circuit of RC phase shift oscillators. Oscillators can be classified in different ways depending upon the frequency generated, then according to the fundamental mechanism, or on account of the waveforms being generated. Now here in this case we generate sinusoidal oscillations, that is a sinusoidal output, and again this can be classified depending upon the components being used. If at all we are using the LC tank circuit, then they are referred to as LC oscillators, and if they are using RC component, they are referred to as RC oscillator. So we have two cases here. One is RC phase shift oscillator, and the second one is a Wien bridge oscillator. In today's experiment, we will try to understand the functioning of this circuit. Now all the oscillators using say for example LC circuits, they operate at a very high frequencies. Fine. At low frequencies, as the inductors and capacitors required for the time circuit would be very bulky. So that's the reason why we make use of RC oscillators in an application where the frequency requirement is low. And as we have discussed, there are two important RC oscillators. The first one is RC phase shift oscillator, and the second one is Wien bridge oscillator. The basic RC oscillator, which is also referred to as phase shift oscillator, it produces a sine wave output using a regenerative feedback obtained from the resistor capacitor ladder network. This regenerative feedback from the RC network is due to the ability of the capacitor to store an electric charge, similar to the ones what we have studied in LC tank circuit. This resistor capacitor feedback network can be connected as shown to produce a leading phase shift, a phase advance network, or interchanged to produce a lagging phase shift, that is a phase retard network. The outcome is still going to remain the same, as the sine wave oscillations only occur at the frequency at which the overall phase shift is 360 degrees. So by varying one or more resistors or capacitor in the phase shift network, now this is what we are referring to as a phase shift network. So you have a combination of CR and a CR network. Fine. So as we all know that oscillator requires a total phase shift of 360 degrees. Now here you see a transistor connected in an amplifier mode common emitter configuration. So whatever the signal here at this point, fine, will be available at the output in an amplified fashion in the opposite direction. So you have a 180 degree phase shift produced by this circuit in a common emitter configuration, and you see this signal has to travel down the network, and it has to be again phase shifted by 180 degrees. So the job of this network is to produce another 180 degree phase shift. So 180 is provided by your common emitter amplifier circuit, and another 180 is expected from the network. And secondly, the frequency in this case that we are going to discuss little later, but let me write here, frequency is f upon 1 upon 2 pi RC root of 2n. N is the number of RC sections. So here we are using 3 RC sections. So each of this section is supposed to give a phase shift of 60 degrees. Again, when the signal reaches here, it will be shifted by another 60 degrees, and by the time it reaches here, it will be shifted by another 60 degrees. So in all, this entire network will shift the signal by 180 degrees. So you see here the frequency is given as 1 upon 2 pi RC root under root 2n. N is the number of sections. So here we are using 3 sections. so n equals to 3. So the equation becomes 1 upon f equals to 1 upon 2 pi RC root of 6. Okay, now what about this RC component? Here you have a resistive network. Let me write this as R1, this is R2, and this is R3. So R1 equals to R2 equals to R3 equals to R, and similarly all these capacitor values are same. So let me mark this as C1, C2 and C3, and since all these values are same, so let me write C1 equal to C2 equal to C3 equals to C. Now these R and C values are substituted here. Now if I want to vary the frequency, then I have to change the components here. Fine, I have to change the values of these components, either resistor or capacitor. Okay, that we'll discuss later. So overall, whenever we discuss about the oscillators, the very first thing is we have to have a phase shift of 360 degrees. So one, it is provided by your CE amplifier, another one it has to be provided by the network. And as what we have discussed, if the three resistors are equal in value, that is R1 equals to R2 equals to R3, and the capacitors C1 equals to C2 equals to C3 equals to C, then the frequency of oscillations produced by the RC oscillator is simply given as f equals to 1 upon 2 pi RC under root of 6. So here you can see the RC network. In the first to your left, we just have a single RC network, 1 by omega CR, and if we make R equals to 0, then then phi becomes 90 degrees. So by making R equals to 0, fine, actually what we are doing is we are shorting that signal to ground. So it is impracticable, because if R is 0, then the whole voltage across it becomes 0. Therefore in practice the value of R is adjusted such that phi becomes 60 degrees. So each of this section is going to introduce a phase shift of 60 degrees, and overall it has to be 180 degrees. I can select the value of C and R such a way that the phase shift is say 45 degrees. So in that case I need to go for 4 RC section. Fine. So if I take a multiple of 5, then I will go for 5 RC sections and so on. So if the values of C and R are chosen so that for the given frequency the phase shift of each is 60 degrees, that is of each RC section, then thus that entire RC ladder network produces a total phase shift of 180 degrees between the input and output voltages. Clear? So in case of RC oscillator circuit, the input is phase shifted by 180 degrees. So you can check out here through the feedback through the amplifier, and another 180 degree phase shift is provided by the RC network. So total phase shift of 360 is possible. The circuit on the left shows a single resistor capacitor network whose output voltage leads the input voltage by some angle less than 90 degrees. So in a pure or ideal single pole RC network, it will be producing a maximum phase shift of exactly 90 degrees, and because 180 degrees of a phase shift is required for oscillation, at least a 2 single pole network must be used within an RC oscillator design. But then we have discussed like it's theoretically okay, we can comment like it's possible, but it is impracticable. Fine. So however, in reality it is difficult to obtain exactly 90 degrees of phase shift for each RC stage. So we must therefore use more RC stages cascaded, meaning connected together, to obtain the required value at the oscillation frequency. And the amount of actual phase shift in the circuit depends upon the values of resistor and capacitor. And finally the frequency of oscillations of this entire circuit is decided by this component which are used in the ladder network. Fine. So the amount of actual phase shift in the circuit depends only on the values of resistor R and capacitor C, at the chosen frequency of oscillation with the phase angle of phi. So we can write Xc, that is reactance of capacitor, as 1 upon 2 pi Fc, and for resistance we'll take it as R. R1 equals to R2 equals to R3 equals to R. Then we can write the impedance Z as R square plus Xc square, that is the reactance, and then we can have phi tan inverse of Xc by R. So Xc is 1 upon omega c. So I hope this is clear. So it's not compulsion that we have to use 3 RC networks or 2. It all depends upon the phase shift provided by each RC network. So this is the frequency of oscillations for RC network. F equals to 1 upon 2 pi RC under root 2 into n. N is the number of RC feedback stages. So the aim of this experiment is to set up and demonstrate the working of RC phase shift oscillator using a bipolar junction transistor. Let me remind you, we can get the similar output using op-amp as well, or for that matter FET also. And what we need to do is we have to observe the sinusoidal output waveform at each RC section. So here this is a list of components required, and you see the resistors, the quantity, under quantity I have marked it as per design. It also depends upon the value of the HFE of transistor, so sometimes this values can get slightly changed. Here is the circuit. Now how do we mount this particular circuit? The very first thing you need to do is, first you connect the circuit of this amplifier section. Fine, and we have to make sure that this transistor circuit is working. So the very first thing is check out the value of HFE or the beta of this transistor using the multimeter. Then you mount only this particular network, apply a voltage of 12 volt and check out the voltage over here. Fine, and at the same time check out the value of VCE, the voltage across collector and emitter. It has to be roughly half of VCC if your design is correct. So you have to make sure that the transistor is operated in the active region. That is, the Q point should be right at the center of a DC load line. Once this is done, so on a breadboard you mount the circuit of transistor amplifier, and in some other part of the breadboard you connect this RC network. Okay, and then the output of this oscillator, amplifier is given as the input to the ladder network, and the output of ladder network acts as the input to the amplifier. There are two things happening here. One is, at every this point the signal is shifted by 60 degrees, and also the gain of the signal is getting reduced, meaning by the time it reaches here the output is reduced as compared to this point, and here the signal becomes very weak, very small, which is connected back to the input of the transistor, and this transistor has to replenish the lost signal. So that's the job of this particular amplifier circuit. And without fail you have to connect the capacitor here, a bypass capacitor, so that we are not allowing any feedback and it will interfere to your input signal. So here is the theory. You can pause and you can go through it. Only for 3 sections, and if you design it for phi equals to 60 degrees, then this statements hold true. You can also design it for 6 RC network sections. If it is 6, then each RC should provide a phase shift of 30 degrees. If you plan to use 4 RC circuits, then each RC should provide me a phase shift of 45 degrees. And we're going to decide that phase shift, the values of R and C, because we know the value of phi, that is phase shift, equals to tan inverse of 1 upon omega CR. So you set the value of phi to say 60 degrees, assume the value of capacitor and find out the value of R. So that will complete your design of RC ladder network. Now here is the procedure. Set up the amplifier part of the oscillator and test the DC conditions. Make sure that you have output voltage VCE, that is the DC voltage, nearly about the half of VCC, and ensure that the transistor is operating as an amplifier. For that you have to apply a test signal of 1 kHz 20 millivolt signal, just the way what we have done in the experiment 1 and 2. So you take this a test signal from the function generator and you observe the output on the CRO. That will make sure that this transistor as a standalone circuit is amplifying the signal, and then the output of which has to be connected to the RC network. The attenuation factor of RC network is 1/29. That means we have to have amplifier with a gain greater than 29. This is the most important criteria. If the gain is less than 29 of your amplifier, the signals will die out. It is referred to as underdamped oscillations. Okay. Next point, connect the feedback circuit separately. So always don't connect this entire circuit at one time. So first you connect the amplifier, make sure that it is working, and the output of the amplifier you connect separately to the ladder network of RC circuit. Okay, and measure its amplitude and frequency at different stages. Observe the waveform at the base and the collector of the transistor simultaneously on the CRO screen and notice the phase difference. So it has to have a phase difference of 180 degrees. This is the model waveform. So at one section you can make out the signal has been shifted to 60 degrees by 60 degrees. So if you have another RC section, then this signal will act as the input to the next section. So again it will be shifted by another 60 degrees, so total 120 degrees, and so on. Now precautions, all the three terminals of the transistor should be carefully identified. All the connections should be correct. See, transistor is a 3-terminal device. Each terminal is interconnected to the base, emitter and collector, and each of these pins or each of this region has different profiles. They have got different functions to perform. We simply cannot interchange, say for example collector and emitter. Fine. So they have got, all these pins have got predefined functions to perform. So we have to identify the terminals. One is using the multimeter. You can check out emitter and base. Collector is connected to the body of the transistor, so it's very easy to make out which is the collector. And emitter, base, you have just left out with 2 pins, emitter and base. So if your connections are correct on the multimeter, then it will conduct in one direction, the other direction it will not conduct. Okay, that's the one thing. And you can also check the HFE value using the using the multimeter. Second, all the connections should be correct. You have to use a continuity tester using the multimeter function, and then you have to verify the gain of transistor amplifier circuit. It has to be greater than 29. And then results, you have to observe the output waveforms on CRO, and you have to write down the amplitude and the frequency of sine wave. In the first experiment we have explained how to read the amplitude and the frequency of the signal. So you can again refer that the first 2 videos if you have any difficulty plotting these results. And then you have to write down the conclusions. What is the outcome? Conclusion meaning what is the outcome of doing this experiment, and outcome depends upon the objectives, and we have already listed the objectives in the aim. So you have to always refer to the aim, and then you have to answer the questions listed in aim as in conclusion. Always remember, there is a difference between results and conclusion. And these are certain questions for your Viva Voce. So why RC oscillator is called as phase shift oscillator, why there is a discrepancy between the observed and theoretical frequency, how the amplitude and the frequency of oscillator can be changed, and so on. Fine. So now as far as the write-up is concerned of this experiment, it has been already uploaded onto this site. You can check out the link and download the document. It is of around 4 pages, and you can also download this documents from this site. Now we will start with the demonstration video.
Okay, in this circuit, in this experiment, we'll be learning about RC phase shift oscillator. We'll see how it works and everything. Okay, so RC phase shift oscillator. Okay, now what we'll do is that this is the circuit diagram. This is already explained. Okay, so we'll start mounting of the circuit. So first thing what we'll do is that we'll select a component. So we want a BC107 and we want a 0.1 microfarad capacitor. So 104 I've already placed. Okay, so we need a 33 kilo ohm resistor. So this is a 33 kilo ohm resistor and 8.2 kilo ohm resistor. Okay, with 2.7 kilo ohm resistor over here. Okay, and 820 ohm resistor over here, and then we require a 100 microfarad capacitor. So I'm keeping it over here, and then last two things that we require is our two resistors. Okay, that is your 10K and 10K. So this is what we require, and then finally we require a potentiometer. Okay, in this case 10 kilo ohm potentiometer. So these are the components that we will require. Okay, we have a breadboard over here. We'll start. So we'll use the same transistor BC107. Okay, so this is your emitter, base and collector. Okay, so emitter, base and collector is mounted. Okay, so I'll mount it like this. So emitter, base and collector. So this is your emitter, base and collector. Okay, so to the collector we have 2.7K. so 2.7K here we have connected over here. Okay, this is one. Then we have 33 kilo ohm resistor here. It is connected to your base. So from VCC it is connected to base. So we have, this is emitter, this is base. Okay, so it is very simple, just you have to do this connection. Okay, then we have this 8.2 from base to ground, from base to ground. So this is done. Then we have this. Okay, so emitter to ground, this 820. So emitter to ground. Okay, then we need to connect this capacitor. So positive is towards this is negative, this is positive, this is negative. So very easy. So positive is going to emitter and ground. Okay, that's it. And then we have your, then we have this RC phase shift. So this is used for 180 degrees phase shift. So each pair of these capacitor and resistor will give you 60 degrees phase shift. So 60 degrees, 60 degrees and 60 degrees. Okay, so we'll mount it accordingly. Okay, so we have collector. Okay, okay, so this is one. Then we have this resistor, 10K and ground. And ground. Okay, then we have one more capacitor. And then one more resistor here. Okay, and then we have one more, so 3 RC combinations for 60 degrees phase shift. Okay, and at the end we'll be connecting a potentiometer. I'll connect a potentiometer here. Okay, so this is our overall circuit diagram. Okay, so the circuit has been assembled. Okay, it is the same circuit, only that I have connected the power supplies and the positive voltage and the negative voltage, and I have connected the BNC connectors for the CRO, for the waveforms to be displayed on CRO. Okay, so we turn on the power supply first. Okay, and then what I will do is that I will set it up for 12 volts. Okay, so this is done. So 12 volts is what I require here, so it is almost done. Then I will turn on the CRO. Okay, so I have already connected the output. Okay, so this is my output. Okay, so what we are trying to see is that we are trying to see the output over here at this point. Okay, so it is at the collector. So I have connected my CRO probe to the collector terminal. You can see here. Okay, so see this point. So this is the collector. So because of that, you see what is coming on the CRO. So I should get a proper sine wave at the on the CRO, and the frequency should match with the theoretical frequency that we have designed it for. So this is how the output of the RC phase shift oscillator should look. Okay, so this is and then very important thing to note over here is that these RC sections are there. Now I'll just explain here. Now this is actually giving you 60 degrees phase shift. Again this will give you 60 degrees phase shift, and again this will give you 60 degrees phase shift. Okay, that also we need to observe. So I have taken one more, I have used one more channel. Okay, so I will do dual. Okay, and then see, I'll just show you one phase shift that is happening. Okay, see here. Okay, okay, see here. Okay, so you can see there is a phase shift. Okay, you can see there is a phase shift. Okay, in the first section. Okay, and then this is the last section. Okay, this is the last section. Okay, so this is how the waveforms will appear. Okay, thank you.